this short lecture, we're going to talk about marketing myopia and how it shows up in sports. One of the questions that we asked in one of the previous lectures was how we can be good at sports marketing. We talked about focusing on the consumer and providing products to meet their needs and wants, generating intelligence, understanding and analyzing it, and that dealt with research. And we also said to beware of what we call myopia, which is a narrow focus. So what is marketing myopia really? It's a lack of foresight in marketing ventures. Or in other words, it's kind of like not having any vision or willingness to understand the marketing environment in which you are operating. Some symptoms of marketing myopia in sports are listed here. One could be a focus on producing and selling goods and services, rather than on identifying and satisfying those needs and wants of customers that we just mentioned. Sometimes we see this when there's too much of a focus on closing the sale instead of developing and nurturing a relationship. Another symptom is believing that a winning team can absolve all other sins and business mistakes. In reality, only some teams or leagues are lucky enough to experience this, where most teams are not consistent winners anyway. Winning is not the key to marketing success. That's not to say it's not helpful, but it doesn't mean you can't have a strategic vision and take an approach to understand and analyze market information. There oftentimes is a confusion between marketing and promotions. This is sort of at a basic level. Marketing is strategic, and it encompasses promotions, which is a tactical part of the marketing mix. Those marketing promotions or gimmicks cannot be the key to selling sport products. They might help in short-term sales and reducing some of the seating inventory for a game, but they're not going to work in the long run. Some other symptoms of marketing myopia are a failure to realize that competition exists on a macro level. You're really just competing for consumer dollars. We talked about this when we mentioned consumer fragmentation. Consumers have a lot of different options. So you're not just competing for tickets or money they may spend to see a live sporting event, but money customers may have to buy groceries or to go to a movie or visit the zoo with their family. And that's what we mean by realizing macro level competition. So sometimes there's, along with these things, that short-sighted focus on quick returns rather than making some long-term investments. Usually this is in research and relationship marketing. These are the things that really help build that connection with fans and customers. Other examples are having poor quality research or not doing any at all, and this results in not understanding the environment in which you operate. Maybe you have a poor sales staff or service staff or poor training for sales and service, or just pure laziness. Some organizations just have a failure to adapt to industry or market changes or trends. They're kind of stuck in the mud, so to speak, and unwilling to do things differently. Sports is a very evolving type of industry, and if you can't evolve with the world around you, probably going to have trouble in the long run. Here's an example. You might remember or know that LeBron James played for the Heat years ago, and they had no trouble selling tickets to Heat games because everybody wanted to see LeBron. So what the Miami Heat did was they decided to fire their entire season ticket staff because they figured there's nothing left for them to do, nothing left for them to sell. Well, when LeBron decided he was going to leave Miami, all of a sudden they had no one there to sell their tickets. They probably had ticket staff that had been there for several years, who were knowledgeable, who were experienced, who they had spent money and time training, and now they had to start over. So this was a problem, and I would say myopic. So in this class, we're going to focus on how to avoid myopia. We'll gather some experience in collecting intelligence, disseminating it, and encouraging responsiveness. And primarily, we'll do some of these things through a short market research project. So if you think you want to work in sports, now is a really good time to start thinking about how sports is actually an extension of the world that we live in. And don't take a narrow focus of it. Think of it in the broad scheme of the world around you. So what can we learn and study to help us be strategic about sports marketing and the sport product? Now is a really good time to think about those things.